Main man, made man here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. So, I haven't reported on this AJ Wilder situation in a couple vids, and I try to stay away from it for a little bit because this story is always changing. And the worst thing to report on is a story that's always changing. I mean, constantly. So I'll just kind of wrap up in this video some of the latest turns in this situation. I'm sure most of y'all have heard it already. First off, I want to start off with the Anthony Joshua stating that he wants to face off with Wilder and Tyson Fury. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that, first thing you got to think about is Tyson Fury. Oh, now AJ is cool with doing a face-off with Wilder and Tyson Fury. See, if we remember from the jump, he never wanted to do the face-off with Wilder, but he was always down for Tyson Fury coming into the ring. I think this particular thing that Joshua is talking now, oh, I got to get mean, oh, I got to be this, I got to be that. This is more so, in my opinion, aggression towards Tyson Fury. I find it funny that AJ is cool with the face-off as long as Fury's name is mentioned. He was cool with Fury coming into the ring. This was a dog whistle, ladies and gentlemen, for Tyson Fury. Trust and believe that. I mean, on top of that, it just looks bad. You refused Deontay Wilder. You wanted to get restraining orders. You told him he couldn't come in the ring. You know what I mean? You wanted to play this prideful fighter. Oh, I'm the king over here. Like, you can't come in my ring. And now all of a sudden you cool with it. It looks bad because after Wilder offered you up straight like that, you just turned it down, and then you come back later after you look bad in that situation and say, oh, now I'm down to do it. Oh, as long as, him and Tyson Fury. Come on, man. It was clear. That to me is clear as day. That is a dog whistle for Tyson Fury, man. This ain't nothing changed with Wilder. Wilder's been acting the same, talking the same, just as loud, still yelling bomb squad. Ain't nothing changed. He said he wasn't into the hype. Even though Tyson Fury is all into the hype, but when it comes to Wilder, oh, I'm not into the hype. Now you looking bad. Now you want to face off. Man, come on, man. Nobody buying that one bit. When do you want to face off? Where do you want to face off? Will you want to come to America and do it? No. That's what it is. If he does do it, ladies and gentlemen, he's trying to splash it to America and do it, make Wilder look bad. That's something that Wilder should have done. Which leads me to my next point. Eddie Hearn is out here doing all of these interviews. We just heard this Fight Hype interview that got everybody riled up. He's commanding narratives. Where is Shelly Finkel? Where is Lou DiBella? Where is Al Heyman? Why ain't they out in front of these cameras, letting it be known to the public who's ducking, who said what? They need to be constantly hammering that shit because that is what Eddie Hearn is doing. I see this dude on IFL. I see this dude on Fight Hype. I see him on any major boxing media. You know what I mean? He's there. Talking up this fight. Talking, Wilder's this, oh, he's ducking, oh, he's not serious, oh, he hasn't sent us an offer, we haven't heard from him. Commanding the narrative, ladies and gentlemen. And now they've reached a point in their negotiations of something that I've been saying for a while, and that is, what stops Anthony Joshua from still going to make 20 plus million with any little local yoko, with anybody for that matter? Nothing. While Wilder's sitting over here talking about he wants this, he wants that. Nothing ain't, they're going to end up passing him by. And then we're going to end up watching Wilder and Dominique Brazil, and we cool with that? Maybe Wilder knows something we don't, though. Maybe he wants Anthony Joshua to face Alexander Povetkin. Because that situation for believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a great situation for Anthony Joshua with that Povetkin situation. For one, he's not the money man. They're not the money team in that particular fight. They will get outbidded in that fight by Alexander Povetkin's people. This Rybinski guy, this billionaire promoter. They will be outbidded. Not to mention Povetkin is not a walk in the park. for Anthony Joshua. He actually is a much more bigger threat to Anthony Joshua than people talk about. If they make that fight, when we break it down stylistically, I'll get more into that. But stylistically, that's not an overly favorable fight for Anthony Joshua. And he's not the money team. They don't like situations like that, ladies and gentlemen. The problem with Wilder is that he does not have the money team. So he cannot run around talking about this is going to happen, that's going to happen. He doesn't have that. I'm trying to figure out what kind of negotiation tactics is the Wilder team doing. This is very reminiscent of what happened in the past, while Wilder has missed out on so many big fights that could have happened. Championship fights, unification fights. And the reason he missed out on those fights is because he sat back and did nothing. My thing was, there was no reason that Deontay Wilder shouldn't have went over to the UK. He should have fought Dillian Whyte and showed AJ and Hearn that y'all are not the only ones that can sell out over here in the UK. See, they base upon what he does here in America, not understanding how boxing is not the most popular sport in America. There's about 3 to 4 other sports ahead of boxing. I guarantee you, if Deontay Wilder was to come to the UK and have a fight with Dillian Whyte, and as passionate as the UK fans are, Deontay Wilder would then show his drawing power in the UK. Coming back to the negotiating table with AJ in a fight that he would have had much more negotiating leverage in. It would have been smart. Effectively also getting rid of the #1 contender in the WBC. It would have been smart. Raising his profile in the UK. It would have been smart. But the American fans and whoever's around Wilder have gassed him up as if he'd done so much to the point where this team has to come to him. You can't do that right now when you've allowed them to command the narrative. Now they've convinced their UK consumers that Wilder's this big ducker. Oh, I'm offering him 5 times his biggest payday. That is the biggest facade going on in boxing right now. The thing is, what Eddie Hearn has effectively done by controlling this narrative, he has convinced people that this fight will not generate as much money as it will. Effectively making the case that, oh, I'm offering Wilder 5 times his biggest payday. And yet Anthony Joshua is not even going to double it. He's stating that Joshua may come out with 26, 28, 29 million. Not even double what he usually makes. Yet he's taking this bigger risk. He's convinced people of that garbage. It's garbage. Eddie Hearn is underbidding this fight purposely. He's running around telling people that this fight is only going to generate $50 million. That is crap. We're talking network deals. We're talking endorsements, American pay-per-view, UK pay-per-view. This fight will generate a lot of money, and you want to offer Wilder this flat $12.5 million and making it effectively, oh, I'm offering him 5 times his biggest payday. Look, man, you can't fool the Americans with that garbage because we sat back and watched Floyd Mayweather do it for years. We watched Floyd Mayweather offer these fighters a small percentage of what the fight will generate, yet 4 or 5 times their biggest payday, but it still was a con. We witnessed that con several times. And now you want to try to pull the wool over our eyes? No. We've seen it. The UK fans don't understand what's going on in that situation. You are underbidding this fight, sir. And AJ need to be having a serious conversation with Eddie Hearn as to why I'm only making $6 to $8 million more in the biggest fight in boxing. That's a serious conversation. Eddie Hearn is doing some foul math when it comes to Anthony Joshua. And that's why it doesn't look good for Deontay Wilder to take a $12.5 million flat rate. Yeah, it's his biggest payday, but given the fact that Eddie Hearn is not being truthful and underbidding this fight so severely, Deontay Wilder doesn't know what to expect. He takes that $12.5 million. This fight generates 70 to 80 million. He lost out big time. It takes two to tango, ladies and gentlemen. So when you want to run around and give me that 5 times his biggest payday talk, look, 2 to tango. 2. We know what Eddie Hearn is doing, but you can't blame him for doing it because they are allowing it. Shelly Finkel is nowhere to be found. According to Eddie Hearn, he's coming to New York next week. Every time I turn around, it's Eddie Hearn doing this, Eddie Hearn doing that, Eddie Hearn doing this. And maybe the Wilder side is doing more, but I just don't know it because they don't tell us. We seen Shelly Finkel come out, oh, I haven't heard from Eddie Hearn in this amount of months, this amount of days. We sent the offer back and we ain't heard nothing. Effectively put pressure on them then. Is that what you're going to do? Send an email and just sit back and say, oh, we ain't heard back? It's terrible, man. They have done no sort of raising the pressure on AJ. So my guess is, from what I'm noticing, Wilder must be content with going to fight a Brazil, because that's the road they seem to be marching down. They must be content with that. I truly think that deep down Eddie Hearn is a bit afraid to he don't really want to put Joshua in there with Povetkin, because that, like I said before, the same way he thinks Wilder is a massive risk, he definitely thinks Povetkin is a massive risk. That's what prompted him to try to get these negotiations started. If they can come to something before that Povetkin fight is due, I think they'd be happy. If they can come out winning the bulk of the money, skipping that Povetkin fight, they win, even if they win or lose in the ring. Can't blame Eddie Hearn, ladies and gentlemen. You only can blame the people that are allowing him to get away with what he's getting away with. And he running around talking about Wilder's this massive threat. That ain't nothing that we didn't know. We could play stupid. Oh man, he said Wilder's a massive threat, as if we never already knew that. We knew that's how he felt about Wilder. Look at that, body language don't lie. Why do you think they so hesitant to make this fight? Like I stated in my last video, Wilder needs to continuously play their words. Bring up that interview that Anthony Joshua did with Radio Raheem. Bring up all the crap that Eddie Hearn has stated in the past. Put it in their clips. Put it on your social media. Put it everywhere. You got to do something, man. That's all I do know. Sitting around acting like this fight is just going to automatically fall in your lap. You know, when it comes to Wilder asking for 40%, that's the way to go. You always ask for a much higher number, so when they cut you down, they're cutting you down right to eye level. Joseph Parker got 33%, right? Or 30-something%. According to Eddie Hearn, that's crap, but whatever. He got 30-something%. So let's say if we took Eddie Hearn's math and this fight only generated 50 to 60 million. If you give Wilder 12.5 million, if it was a $60 million fight, you're looking at what? 20%? If it was a $50 million fight, 24, 25%? You know what I mean? So this is the reason the man doesn't want to talk percentages. Because it sounds better to say 12.5 million, but it sounds awful to say 20%. Eddie Hearn is good. Eddie Hearn is very good. That's like politics tactics, you know, or polling tactics. Trade one word in for the other. Make it sound totally different by just moving one word or not saying certain words. And the Wilder team knows this. You're basically telling us, without telling us, you're offering us 20% for a fight. You're offering the WBC champion, the biggest heavyweight in America, 20% for a fight. That's what you're technically doing. Think about that, UK fans. Think about that. So we'll see how this thing continues to roll on. I hate the way that the Wilder team is negotiating this thing. I hate the fact that they've lacked of commanding this narrative. They've lacked raising the pressure on AJ and his consumers. They haven't done anything. I hate that. And that's why Matchroom and, you know, Project AJ's team feel like they can, you know, smack Wilder around and offer him these paltry offers because they ain't doing nothing about it, and they're allowing them to make them. All of this, you know, we trying to back them into a corner type stuff. You know, that can happen. Don't get me wrong. That strategy is effective also. But that strategy takes much more time, in my opinion, than what it would do if you would have raised the pressure and demanded more, because the UK fans would have been right there with you. And the people would have been like, no, you know, Wilder came over here. He did what he got to do. You need to give him more money. Everybody on both sides of the water would have been saying it. So we'll see how this thing plays out, man. So to the next video, Main Man, Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe to Twitter, Made Man 511, Facebook, Main Man, Made Man Boxing Forum, Google Plus, Main Man, Made Man. You know, Tyson Fury is back. Every day that passes, once that first fight in June happens, he'll be asking for one more fight by the end of the year. And at that point, AJ and Project AJ and Eddie Hearn and them will effectively move their concentration from Deontay Wilder. And they will focus on Tyson Fury. They're just trying to, you know, milk this thing out day by day. Day by day. To the next video. Peace out.